Okay. I request you to tell me if my screen is visible and audible. And am I audible? And am I visible? Um, I need to know all the three things. Can one of you just put a text or just put a thumbs up or something on the chat box? Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. All right, thank you. Is my screen properly visible? Uh, I hope I'm audible. I hope I'm visible. I hope everything is okay. And since there are 100 participants, people who try to enter now, I will not be allowing them. Um, anyways, welcome again to the drafting internship. As I've already mentioned, this drafting internship is an internship which will be going on for a period of the entire month. So, first of all, I'd like to give you a schedule. If you want, you can note it down. If not, I will still share it on the group. But I prefer if you'd note it down so that you have also, like, people have this practice of if they write, they remember better. So for that specific reason, if you can write it down, cool. If not, guys, please put your mics on mute. Um, thank you. Um, I will be removing people who are not on mute. Okay. And because there are other people who want to enter and people who are creating nuisance, I do not want that. Okay. Um, okay. All right. Okay. So the schedule goes as such. Today is your first meeting or the first interaction you're having with me. Today we've already had an introductory session where I have introduced myself. If there's anything else you'd like to know, my WhatsApp is open. Um, so I will also be giving you the entire schedule today, and I also will be allotting your first task. So your first task submission is on 7th, which is next Saturday. Aman, I will be removing you. I have asked you people multiple times to keep yourselves on mute. Okay, done. Um, okay, so 7th is the submission of the first task, and 8th, I will be conducting the next meeting where I will be allotting you your second task. Your second task um, is a little harder than the first task. Uh, so your first task will be where it will be scrutinized by me as well as my boss, and people who we feel that are not interested or are not, um, you know, uh, adequately putting forth or are not even trying their best for that matter, will be removed. Uh, one second, guys. Okay. All right. So then you have your, and as we go on to the second task, a lot of you all will be removed if you're not serious. So by the second task, by the 8th, by the next Sunday, we will have a filtered out group of people because if I am giving my time, I'd like you to give your time as well. And if I am able to do that, having a really busy schedule, you can do it too. So task 2 allotment will be on 8th. Submission is again on the next Saturday, which is 14th. 15th, we'll have another meeting, where I will allot you your task 3. Task 3 submission is on the 21st. 22nd, we'll have another meeting just like this, where I will be allotting you task 4. 28th will be the submission of task 4 and will be the final submission. And further, your last meeting or the meeting where we say our goodbyes will be on 29th. It would not be a mandatory session to attend. Um, but it would be nice to have you all attend. But anyways, so certain things to keep in mind before we delve into this internship. I am definitely available on WhatsApp. You have my LinkedIn, but make sure that Am I audible and visible, guys? Please put a thumbs up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am, you are.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. I've not explained the first task as of now. If you have doubts, please raise your hand so I know you're asking something. I cannot keep going to the chat box. It is not visible on my screen as of now. So I'm available on LinkedIn as well as I'm available on WhatsApp. But please remember to respect my personal space and keep the interactions between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. because those are the working hours, normal working hours. I will be available and please do not call. I will definitely answer your texts. I might be a little late in answering them, but you will get a response before I go to bed. And if I text you after 10, please let it be and text me after or the next day morning. And I will try not to do so, but sometimes situations and things happen, and I will give you all the freedom to do that too, but not to just chat. If you genuinely have a doubt, I will never stop you from texting me, or but please don't call. Okay, next, you need to have a LinkedIn uh, for the completion of the internship, because you need to be posting all the things that you do on LinkedIn, tagging me as well as my boss, as well as legal specs. Again, another session on that will be with your second task, or actually will be right now. So every draft that you make, you will have to post it on LinkedIn, sharing your experience, tagging me, and tagging Shreyanshu sir as well. So, and also legal specs for that matter. Further, you will also have to, I will be circulating a Google form that is for my record purposes, and I will be checking those. So those of y'all whose whose submission coordinate with the LinkedIn, uh, y'all will be given preference in giving the certificate. Uh, Apart from that, if y'all have submitted through the Google form, you will still get your certificate regardless of what happens. But I would request, and it is kind of mandatory to upload on LinkedIn as well. Okay, so moving on to the first task. We've had our introduction. Okay, so Legal Specs is a community of aficionados throughout the country who believe that law should be available to everyone as stated in the spirit of the Constitution. Our motto is Lawyers in Making. Our goal is to improve everyone's awareness of careers and also outreach. And we do conduct multiple internships throughout the years. Throughout the whole year, we keep posting internships on our website as well as LinkedIn if you'd like to check that out. We also are um, a group of people who are very, very, very passionate about law, like all of you are too. So, task one, this will be your notice, a legal notice. The problem will be shared to you on, like, I will be explaining the problem to you, but I will also be sharing the problem with you regardless. Um, so, before we get into the problem, um, drafting, as we all know, is really, 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 really important in the field of law, especially in the field of law, because it is where your skills as a lawyer actually show up more than more than arguing. Sure, arguing is a very, very, very important part, but more than that, it is your drafting skills which are taken into consideration. And drafting basically refers to uh, preparation or a consolidation of legal facts, documents, and agreements, pleadings, etc., 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 and any other legal instruments which tell you your rights and duties and which tell the other person their rights and duties. Um, so basically, relevant facts are being if okay. So if you people do not understand what I'm trying to say, please raise your hand. I will try to explain it even more. Like I will try to explain it further to you. I am just giving you a brief. If you want further explanation, I will definitely do that, but I need to run quick because this meeting will also get over. Akash Jadhav, please, please. Thank you. Okay. Um, Akash Jadhav, you are going to be removed. Um,
Sorry, my bad.
okay. So there are usually the whole drafting process goes on in three steps, or you make basically three drafts. Your first draft is just you just putting everything that you know into your draft. Your second draft improves the spacing, your coordination, your flow of paragraphs. All of those are any corrections that need to be made. All of those usually happen in your second draft. Your third draft is your final draft where you format, you make any further changes as required, you and you finish up the document by putting in a lot of your full stops, commas. All of those are very, very, very necessary. And in case it's a monetary suit or anything which involves money, your numbers as well as your words, or the words which are in numbers need to, or the numbers which are in words need to be accurate and matching. So that is, something that you need to keep in mind. Not saying you all need to do a three-step draft, but these are certain things that I have used, which have helped me in making my drafts and which have helped me in bettering my drafts. Now, there are certain principles of drafting, which are number one, detailed content. Um, Drafting is a representation of facts and a representation of facts in a detailed format. And it is not vague, it is very relevant to the problem. It has content utility, as in it is necessary for the content, or it is necessary for the fact that that particular uh, you know um, points are being taken into consideration. It usually a legal notice or any kind of a draft is usually in chronological order, that is date wise. From the first date, for example, January 1, 2023, a situation happened. January 1st, sorry, March 1st, 2023, a second thing happened. 20 December 1st, 2023, third thing happened. You cannot mix up the chronology. You need to go December, March, and December. So you always need to be in chronological points, and you always try to elaborate on one point per paragraph. For example, you want to write about the fact that you want to introduce yourself, or you want to introduce your party, because since you'll be drafting, you will take the role of a lawyer. So since you want to introduce your party, you do that in one paragraph. And if you want to go to a second paragraph, you stop it at the fact that you're introducing your party. You don't delve into other points. And the same thing goes on for the rest of the paragraphs as well. There always needs to be uniformity and consistency in regards to your presentation, in regards to your vocabulary, in regards to your formatting, in regards to your spacing, in regards to your justification, or your left-handed or right-handed or whatever that is. It all needs to be uniform, consistent, and very, very, very organized and meticulously done. Now, the main reason why drafting is so important is that it uses certain legal terms, it uses certain legal points, certain legal terminologies, which which add a weightage on the notice. Otherwise, notice can be sent by anyone. It doesn't have to be a lawyer, it does not have to be anyone else. My mother, who's not a lawyer, might send a notice. What is a legal notice? A legal notice, or anything which has an advocate's hand in play, needs to be uh, having proper use of legal terminologies. Okay. Next, it needs to be in very simple. Although you're using legal language, you can always make it simple, and it needs to be fluent. And in case you ever feel that your language is not fluent and it's going and you're missing out a lot of points, Sit back, relax, take a breath, and start over again. Start from the beginning so that you know the flow where you're going. Because once you keep editing your drafts over and over and over again, is when you will actually be able to get the final draft that you are happy with. It doesn't mean as long as you are happy with it and you're satisfied with whatever you've done, it should be good enough for everyone else. And sure, there are certain points which need to be taken into consideration, but that is secondary. You always need to um, be satisfied with yourself. Then you always need to avoid repetitions. Um, Repeating of facts and repeating of statements are not good for anyone. They annoy everyone. They're not, I personally would be very annoyed if someone repeated themselves over and over and over again. So, and certain physical characteristics which usually is followed is the fact that you need to usually send legal notices by RPAD, which is Registered Post Acknowledgement Due. What basically happens in an RPAD is that a slip is taken from you, the sender, and it is given to the receiver. That receiver signs on the slip and sends it back through the post office to me, that is the sender. So usually legal notices are sent through RPAD, and most legal documents are sent through RPAD. Your paper quality, you need to figure out which legal document needs to go in legal sheets and which need to go in A4 sheets. For a legal notice, which is your first task, it is more often than not usually goes in A4 sheet in an envelope. Your page numbering needs to be very adequately done. One, two, three, four, or a usually you use one, two, three, four because ABCD is confusing. And you need to format your paragraphs. Usually we use Times New Roman 12, justified line spacing 1.5, and you know, avoid using so basically you avoid using um, you know, things and paper and material which is not adequate enough. And your document, like in case you're actually sending out a document, it needs to be properly binded, it needs to be properly threaded, needs to be stapled, or whatever else it is that you want to do. You want to do in the sense what the office, if you're working in an office, wants to. Okay, and you always need to have active voice. Wherever possible, as much as possible, you need to use active voice. And although in modern legal notices and legal drafts, you avoid starting or you avoid starting any paragraph or sentence with the word that. You usually start with it is submitted that instead of starting with just that. Okay, and there are certain rules of drafting which I've been telling you since okay yes, okay. Now, moving on to task one, I will be telling you your task. I will be explaining the problem to you. I will also be sending you the Word document. And uh, if we have time and if we can, we will also have like a brief run through of what a legal notice is and how all of that happens, or we can do it vice versa. Um, okay, so I'll just give you a brief about legal notice, not going to delve too much into it. I'm just going to quickly run through because we have just 15 minutes left. So legal notice is a formal communication which has its own format, details, and how it needs to be transferred from one person to another. It is a written communication between two parties, um, and it is the intention of the sender to notify the receiver about the fact that legal proceedings are about to, I mean, the sender would be instituting legal proceedings if the receiver does not fulfill their part of the obligations. Legal notices are usually sent in certain situations, in consumer related cases, in disputes related to property, like partition, eviction, possession, all of that. Loan defaulters. The Under the SARFACI Act, The debt recovery proceedings begin by sending a legal notice to the defaulters. That is, the SARFACI Act basically states that a notice needs to be sent to the defaulters before proceedings can be instituted against them. Any cases of negotiable instruments like check, promissory notes, and bill of exchange, money recovery cases, these also you can include them under the loan recovery proceedings. Or if, like for example, in the problem, this is the this is the kind of suit you'll be dealing with, which is the money recovery case. And employer and employee and company and wherein the employee has left or the employer has asked the person to resign. All of those situations is when a legal notice needs to be sent. Now the contents of a legal notice are divided into four. Okay, first is the title of the legal notice, which basically gives like an information to the receiver as to what the notice is about. Your matter and facts. What are your facts? What are you claiming? What are the things which the sender needs to keep in mind? Thirdly, your demands, as in the sender's demands and requirements, also need to be mentioned. The result and consequences of not following the demands and requirements also need to be mentioned. Now, a legal notice in contradiction with uh, a plain or a written statement for that matter is very precise, is like a summary, and um, it is usually used in instances where the party does not want to get into the intricacies of law, it does not want to get into the whole loophole of law, but wants to solve the dispute outside. This is a form of negotiation between two parties. People who are interested in ADR and arbitration and all of that, legal notices are something which you need to be really, really, really good with. People who are interested in competition law, it will really help you. People who want to do, like, these are off the top that I remember. And almost every profession or every kind of um, how do I tell you, every kind of every aspect of law that you venture into, you need a legal notice, or this is a very, 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 very important um, thing you need to know. This was one of the first drafts I've ever done, was a legal notice. And again, Section 80 of the Civil Procedure Code details two things. First one is who should be served with the legal notice. And the second one is what should the notice contain. So Section 80 of CPC, which is Civil Procedure Code, you can read that, but I'm just giving you a brief that any person who is part of the proceedings or against whom the sender wants to institute proceedings can be issued a legal notice. Um, Anshu, please mute yourself. Um, and it also states that um, the legal notice also states that uh, Anshu, I need you to mute yourself, please. Okay. The legal notice contains the name, description, and residence of the person um, sending the notice and the cause of action, as well as the relief or compensation claimed by the plaintiff. This is basically what a notice is. Now your problem. Okay, I will be giving it to you in brief, but you will be getting the actual problem in your WhatsApp. I will be sending it to you in Word format or PDF format, and then you will have to figure it out. And as I already mentioned, your submission date for the same is on 7th. I will be sharing a Google form by tomorrow end because I think 1 day minimum is needed to draft a legal notice. And for those of you all who finish it before, kindly have patience. I will be sending the Google link as soon as I can, Google form link as soon as I can. Um, Okay, so the problem goes like this. Party A is a registered business in India which manufactures pickles and various food items. Party A has entered into a written contract with Party B, which is another registered company, for the supply of certain items. Okay, and which amounts to rupees 50 lakhs to part and yeah, so party A, in accordance with the terms and conditions specified in the contract this particular contract is entered into. That is, party B will supply to party A certain raw materials, and in regard with the terms and conditions
Hello,
specified.
ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Ma'am, your slide is not working actually.
No, I don't have a slide. It's just this.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Um, and the agreed upon delivery date is so and so. Party B has failed to deliver the agreed goods as per the terms of the contract, and party A has made an advance payment of 20 lakhs on the sole belief that the goods would be delivered on time and that they would not face any loss. Now, because of party B's default, party A has tried to make um, has undergone many losses, including loss of market presence, loss of labor's livelihoods, and the shareholding price has dropped, and all of that. Party A, just before sending the legal notice, has tried to make multiple communications regarding the same via mails, calls, texts, and have also sent representatives to find out what's happening, but have been of no success. Seeing no other relief, Party A has approached you, the advocate, and has requested your help in the drafting of a legal notice. Now, certain points which you need to be taken into consideration are also mentioned in that particular Word document. I will also be sending you a sample. You can use that sample. I have drafted a legal notice on this particular thing. You can name your party, you don't have to name your party, that's up to you. Dates, please make sure you keep the dates in mind. Make sure you mention, if you're mentioning any compensation or any amount, properly, and so that it does not um, you know contradict with the problem that I have given. Apart from that, there are certain things I'd like to tell you before we end the meeting. Just 1 second, guys. All right. Okay. So, you the format of the legal notice goes as such. First of all, right in the center, you always write by registered post acknowledgement due, wherein in case you're sending the notice through RPAD, which is registered post acknowledgement due, you always mention it on the top, like before you start writing anything or typing anything, you need to mention by registered post acknowledgement due. It needs to be bold, it needs to be in the center. Then you leave a space and you write your date, that is whatever date you're drafting the notice. Then you write your sender's address. Sorry, your receiver's address. So you write to PO, comma, and whoever else you want to send it to. Then you write sir or ma'am, and then next line, subject, legal notice. And then you start with under instructions from your client, whoever residing at this place, we issue the following legal notice to you. And you always, your first point which needs to be there is that this notice is being issued to you without prejudice to our client's rights and privileges under applicable laws. This sentence, you can modify it, but this sentence needs to have the same meaning. Then that the fact that the notice is being issued without prejudice to the client's rights and privileges under the laws of the particular country. Okay. And then your second paragraph basically needs to be introducing yourself or introducing your clients, and then you need to tell why your client approached you. And you can always add an extra fact. You can always, like how I have done in that particular um, in the sample that I will be sharing to you. You can add your facts, but the facts which are there you cannot delete. That is something you need to keep in mind. Then okay, and then once you're done with explaining the facts and explaining, whatever grievances you have, when you get to the demand part of your notice, wherein you're demanding what you want, you always put on caps, like all caps, take notice that, comma, and then you write your whatever you want. Okay, and take notice that is the only thing which needs to be in all caps. The rest can be in normal vocabulary or normal lettering or numbering that you need to do. And usually, at least most of the notices that I've seen and drafted, I usually ask the sender to pay for the cost towards the issuance of the legal notice. And then you need to write cordially or thankfully, and then you need to leave some space for your signature, or you can sign if you can, and you need to write your name and advocate. That is how your legal notice basically looks like. Okay, in case anybody has any doubts, anything that you would like to know, we have 3 minutes. You can ask, and I will definitely be answering all of your queries.
Excuse
Yes,
me,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Is there any type of format available for this?
Yeah, so I have formatted and I've drafted a notice specifically for the problem that I have given. So I will be sharing that as well. So you can use that, use the format of that, and you can draft your notice.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
1 second, Anirudh.
Ma'am, I
Nandini.
wanted to ask one thing that
Yeah.
the students who are doing it for the very first time, like who doesn't know how to do a draft, so will you be guiding them throughout the internship, like how to prepare drafts and all?
Yes, of course. I mean, that's why I've been appointed to sit here and to be there for all of you. Like I always said, I'm
Yes,
always in
ma'am,
your
because it's a okay, ma'am, because it's my
Ma'am,
first time that I'm drafting.
Yes, Nandini, you're always free to reach out, but just remember during working hours. You text me before or after, I will be replying to you only in between working hours.
Sure,
Ma'am,
ma'am. Thank you.
Will you please
ma'am,
say
would it
what
be possible to get
whole
recording of
format?
this?
Yes, I have recorded this session, Anirudh. I will be, you'll probably get a YouTube link of some sort, or I will probably be sharing the recording or whatever the boss decides. Anything else?
Ma'am, please,
Excuse me,
can you
ma'am.
say what will be the page format for legal notice?
Page format.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you will have to usually justify your text. You will have to give 1.5 line spacing, Times New Roman, and 12 font size.
Okay, ma'am. And
And your
A4 size.
Yeah, I mean, you don't write it. Please don't write. It is a typed thing. Anyways, your Word works on A4 sheet only. Unless you change it specifically, it'll work only on Word sheets. Please keep that in mind. You need to type it. I will not take submissions which are handwritten.
Ma'am, I also had a doubt.
Yes.
The way that we are going to begin the notice, we will first be writing that it has been issued by the post office. Like the word that you mentioned was RPAD, right?
Registered Post Acknowledgement Due.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Anybody else?
Ma'am, since for me also drafting this is for the first time, so you will be sending the formats and everything in the WhatsApp group itself, like how
Yes.
to draft and all.
Yes. And all the minutes of the meetings will also be shared on the group. A recording of the session will also be shared on the group. Your problem, samples, everything that you will need. And apart from that, if you need anything, you have my WhatsApp number. You're always free to reach out there. And yeah, okay. Since the meeting's about to end, thank you guys. I will see you all soon. Okay? Please